We're going to do our Mangalacharan and Sumiran from the beginning of Bal Kanda. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Varnanam. Oh, originals. Varnanam Arthasanhanam Rasanam Chandasamapi Mangalanam Chakartaram Vande Vani Vinayakam Bhavani Shankarau Vande Shraddha Vishwasarupiणam Yabhyam Vinana Pashyanti Siddha Swantasthamishwaram Vande Bodhamayam Nityam Gurum Shankararupinam Yamashrito hi Vakropi Chandra Sarvatra Vandyate Sitaram Gunatgrama Punyaranya Viharinam Vande Vishuddha-Vijnano Kavishvara-Kapishvara Udbhava-Sthiti-Samhara Karini Klesha-Harini Sarva-Shreyaskarim Sitam Natoham Rama-Vallabham Yanmaya-Vashavarti Vishwamakhilam Brahmadidevasuraha Yatsattvadam Rishaiva Bhati Sakalam Rajo Yatha He Brahmaha Yatpadaplavamekαμeva Hi Bhavam Bodhe Sthitirshavadam Vandeham Tamashesha Karanaparam Ramakhyami Sorry, I am still learning, guys, so we're going to keep getting mistakes in the harmonium. But one day we will get there. Okay, so we are seeing the most beautiful Shabari Katha, which is going to lead into Navadha Bhakti. Last week we started Shabari Katha. Shabari Ma is well, Shabari, the word also is not her name. She's from the Shabar tribe, and so she's a tribal woman. That's all her name is that we know. We don't know what her actual name is, and we will never know. And it also doesn't matter. That much itself is enough for us to know that she has become immortal. Whoever she is, she really has become immortal. And there's nobody who can meet Ramayana and not know Shabari Ma. There is nobody who can know Bhagavan Ram or even Bhagavan Krishna and not know Shabari Ma. Her name comes up so much in Bhakti Marga. Actually, Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda had said, and I had written it down here, a devotee should have Prahlada's courage, Dhruva's conviction, Sudama's heroism, a gopi's perseverance, Kunti's faith, and Shabari's depth. So the word that Gurudev used for Shabari was her depth.
Tulsidasji is saying here in this writing here, Shabari was known by the name of the wild tribe.
Yeah, Shabari means...
Shabaras.
Right, Shabari literally means she who is from the Shabara tribe. Correct, yeah. Okay, so we saw the story of Shabari Ma last week, and through seeing her story, we get a slight perspective on the depth of the personality that is needed to be developed to emulate her qualities and to develop the kind of bhakti and shraddha that she had. Now, what exactly her bhakti was, Bhagavan Rama himself is going to tell us. Nobody needs to guess what her bhakti was. Bhagavan Rama himself glorifies that bhakti of our Shabari Ma. So we have seen the section where Bhagavan Ram, having given mukti to Jatayuji and having sent Kabanda back to his loka, he heads now towards Shabari Ma's ashram. In fact, it is like his feet just get pulled in that direction. Effortlessly, his feet get pulled. Not effortlessly, helplessly. His feet get pulled to Shabari Ma's ashram. And Shabari, it is described, Shabari dekhi Rama griha aaye. Bhagavan Ram came to her home. He broke his vrata of not going to any home to go to the home of Shabari Ma. And seeing him, she remembered her guru, because it is only because of his blessings that Bhagavan Ram came to her, according to Shabari Ma. In her mind, Bhagavan Ram only came because he had to uphold the word of her guru. And so Shabari Ma gave Bhagavan Ram fruits and roots and bulbs. We know that famous story. She gave him an asan. She washed his feet in no particular order of vidhi, but in her own style. Because of her overwhelmedness, and in Bhakti Marg there are no rules when the love is so much. And now she puts her hands together and she's going to try to explain to Bhagavan Ram why she can't do stuti for him. So let us see what she has to say. This is now after 34 in Aranya Kanda. Aranya Kanda after 34. It starts with Pani Jori Aage Bhai Thari. After number 34 in Aranya Kanda, Pani Jori Aage Bhai Thari. We're starting right at the beginning after 34. Everyone got it?
That would be verse 45, the Doha?
No, this is above 35. Doha 34. Find Doha 34.
Yeah, I know that.
Right after Doha 34, we're chanting the next line. Pani Jori Aage Bhai Thari. Okay? Alright.
But in the same vein, the same vein that Sri Ram was guided to Shabari's ashram, this book is saying that he said, now I will tell you the 9 forms of devotion.
That's coming. That's coming. Yeah. And I'll take all questions at the end, okay?
Well, it's not questioning, but it's just that I want to clear it up.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. This section is coming.
I just teach Hindi education at the Louisiana prison, the government prison. So if I'm not clear myself, I can dispel any knowledge to the inmates.
Yes, of course. I
So I
understand.
don't want to go there without.
Okay.
That's why from time to time I would ask for like a clarity.
Yes, no problem. I'll take all questions at the end. Okay, we'll chant now. पानी चोरी आगे भय ठारी प्रभु ही बिलो की प्रीति अति बारी कह के ही विधि स्तुति करो तो तुम्हारी अधम जाति में जरमति भारी अधम ते अधम अधम अति नारी दिन कहूँ मैं मति मंद अघारी कह रघुपति सुनु भामिनी बाता मानहु एक भगति करता जाति पाति कुल धर्म बराई धन बल परिजन गुण चतुराई भगति नर सोहई कैसा बिनु जल बारद देखिय जैसा नवदा भगति कहूँ तो ही पाही सावधान सुनु धर्मन माही श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम. Okay, we will pause there. We'll see this section. Pani jori aage bhai thari. Shabari Ma folded her hands in front of Bhagavan Ram and stood there. Then Prabhu hi biloki preeti ati barhi. Seeing Bhagavan Ram, looking at Bhagavan Ram, her love was just becoming more and more and more. In other places in Ramayana earlier, we would have seen Tulsidasji's description about how it is like somebody's heart is like an ocean, and when the moon is full, how the waves of the ocean rise up and the ocean swells. Like that, the love in the heart just like rises more and more and more. So the love in her heart was just becoming more as she was seeing Bhagavan Ram standing in front of her. She didn't know who Bhagavan Ram was before when Matanga Rishi had left. She said, "Who is this Rama whose mantra you're giving me to chant?" And he said, "You don't worry, he himself will come and tell you." So she doesn't know who he is, according to the fact that, now she'll know who he is, but at the beginning she didn't know who he was, right? Now she says, "Kihi bidhi astuti karo tumhari." In what way should I do stuti for you? In what way can I praise you? Adhama jati mein jaramati bhari. I am of a low caste and I am dull-witted. I am the most dull-witted. Means, first of all, I'm born in a low caste. Then on top of that, I am most dull-witted. How am I supposed to do stuti for you? She never had an opportunity to learn puja, to learn stuti or anything. So she said, how do I do stuti? But she knows that when Bhagavan has come, we have to do stuti for him. Everybody who meets Bhagavan does stuti for him. That much she knows, that stuti must be done. Means, when you see Bhagavan, there's like a helpless feeling in the heart to express in your words how you understand that Bhagavan is so great, so wonderful, so compassionate. That desire is there. So now she says, then she continues, Adhamate adhama adhama ati nari. I am the lowest of the low, extremely low woman. This is what she says about herself. Tinamaha me mati mand aghari. And she says, on top of that, I am the most dull-witted among all of them. And she says, Aghari, O remover of papa. She calls Bhagavan, O remover of papa. So she feels that the birth she has is a birth of papa. It is a birth of, it's a low birth. This, I just pause for 1 minute and think a little bit here. This wrong sentiment had been ingrained in people, that some are higher and some are lower, and that was reinforced by people with an agenda. But in Sanatana Dharma, Varna Dharma is not caste system as is presented to us that we learned in school, caste system, 5 castes and all of that. There's no untouchable. The other thing is that there's no vertical hierarchy. Varna Dharma is a horizontal classification of different dispositions meant for different types of work. And each is different but equally important. Very important principle in Sanatana Dharma. But people like power and anything is corruptible. So unfortunately, corruption had entered. You know, Christianity was the endorser of the slave trade. The church had declared that black people and natives had no souls. And it was not sin to treat them, to treat them however, right? Now they abolished slavery. Then they removed the words of the caste system also, that they only brought. But that feeling of superiority and inferiority in people's hearts will manifest in some way, shape, or form. You know, you go right now to rich countries and you see the way they treat people that they bring into work, right? Within families also, you'll see kids of different caliber treated differently by other people. Within societies, you'll see people of different professions given different respect, right? Different countries are seen in different lights than other countries. So that feeling is there. So Tulsidasji is not telling anything or trying to reinforce anything. All he's doing is she is expressing her sentiment as she sees herself because of society's views of her. And actually, this is an instrumental thing for us to remember, that we cannot judge ourselves based on society's bias. Society doesn't know what is important, what the priorities are, what the purpose of life is. It doesn't know anything about lasting happiness. It's becoming worse with social media. Now people judge themselves on other people's fake images. Right? So it's becoming only worse. But the most important thing Bhagavan is going to tell is how he sees us. Right? So that is really the measure. This Shabari is describing herself. Tulsidasji is not saying that there are people who are adhama, there are people who are low. He is sharing how she feels about herself. And she feels about herself because of how society has made her feel. So we have to know who we are, independent of what society superimposes on us about who we are. And we have to see ourselves in the light of Bhagavan's eyes. Anyways, the other thing is, when you see these kinds of lines, really true devotees feel like they're nothing, especially in front of Bhagavan, because they know the power of Bhagavan and they have tremendous humility. Like Hanumanji, when he had gone to meet Vibhishana and they were having that samvada before he met Sitaji, he told Vibhishana that, look, I'm just a monkey. Not only that, if somebody sees my face in the morning, they won't get food that day. You tell me that is true? Someone sees Hanumanji's face and they won't get food for the day? It is so auspicious to think about Hanumanji in the morning, right? But it is just his humility that expresses in that kind of sentiment that really I'm nothing in front of Bhagavan. Look at Bhagavan's compassion. So like that sentiment is there also when a bhakta speaks. But now, so that's what Shabari had to say. Now see what Bhagavan says. Kaha Raghupati sunu bhamini bata. O Bhamini, said Raghupati, listen to my words. Means listen to what I'm going to tell. And he calls her Bhamini. Bhamini literally means, oh beautiful young lady. That is one meaning. She's a beautiful young lady. Her husband had left her because he thought she was not beautiful. Right? Now, Bhagavan Ram is calling her a beautiful young lady. So that shows one, what Bhagavan sees as beautiful is not what we see as beautiful. He considers devotion, sincerity. That is what he sees as beauty. Now, that means when we look in the mirror, whether we think we are beautiful or handsome or not, the question is, will Bhagavan think we are beautiful? I saw a meme of somebody with a ton of makeup on their face, like a mean girl with a ton of makeup on her face. And the comment on there was, if you eat some of that makeup, maybe you will be beautiful inside too. Perception of beauty is its own thing. Anyways, the other meaning of Bhamini is enlightened, brilliant being. Now, this Bhamini will come multiple times in this prasanga, but see the power of Guru Bhakti and Ram Nam that a Shabari became a Bhamini, an enlightened, brilliant being. Bhagavan Ram says a most famous dialogue here. Manahu eka hagati karanata. I only consider one relationship, and that is the relationship of bhakti, the relationship of love. That is the only measure Bhagavan has in his interaction with everybody. Right now, this is coming after the Kabandha section, where he talked about the importance of karma siddhanta and respecting brahmanas and all, but that has its limited place. Here, Bhagavan makes it very clear. The only relationship he accepts is the relationship of love. And he specifies, Jati, Pati, Kula, Dharma, Barai. It doesn't matter what caste you're from, what your kinship is, what your family, what dharma you follow means, how much punya you do, what religion you're from, Barai, no matter how great you are, what your reputation is, Dhana, Bala, Parijana, Guna, Chaturai, how much money you have, how much strength you have, how people look up to you, how much great qualities you have, what skills you have, it doesn't matter. Bhagavan does not pay attention to this. Now you tell me, as a society, how much time we spend on these things. Somebody is a person of great character. They go and they make money by fair means. They take care of their family with integrity. They have great skills that they've developed over years of going to school. Bhagavan is saying, that is not enough. That is not the only measure. It means that is not what Bhagavan is seeing. What is he seeing? He says, Bhagati hina narasohai kaisa. Without bhakti, devoid of bhakti, what is the worth of a person? Binu jala barida dekhiya jaisa. Like a cloud with no water. All, when you're waiting for rain, especially if you have crops that are waiting to grow, and then that rain looking cloud comes, but it just teases you and it goes away. It doesn't have anything to offer. It just comes there. It's an empty thing. It doesn't help and it goes, right? In the same way, Bhagavan is describing all these jati pati, all these things he just listed. And he says, if you don't have bhakti, it is like a cloud that has no rain. It means all these things that are considered great. Yes, they're great, but without love for Bhagavan, they're empty. And you'll see, people will feel this sentiment. People have everything. Means some people who have everything, they still feel like their life is empty. Correct or wrong? They have good family, good job, good house, good everything. But there's a feeling of emptiness inside. If bhakti is not there in the heart, Bhagavan is saying, your life is like that cloud that has no rain when you're waiting for actually rain to come. So, something instructive for us to think about, whether we have the kind of bhakti that fulfills our life. Now the next question will be, well, what does that bhakti look like? So Bhagavan himself says, Navadha bhakti kahau tohi pahi. I will tell you now the 9 forms of bhakti, the 9 forms of devotion. Savadhana sunu. Listen attentively. Dharu mana mahi. And hold it in your mind. Take it to heart. Now he's telling Shabari Ma, listen attentively. Savadhana sunu. What else would she have been doing? She has waited years and years and years and years and years and decades for Bhagavan Ram to come. You see a simple teenager waited a few weeks to go to a concert. When they go to that concert, you think their eyes and their ears go anywhere else? They're glued to that stage just from a few weeks of waiting for some singer, right? She has waited decades for a few minutes with him. Where will her mind go? So this Savadhana Sunu, listen attentively, it is not for Shabari Ma. It is for us. Bhagavan Ram is saying, everybody, listen carefully to what I am about to say. Dharu mana mahi, and take it to heart. This instruction is for us. And at the end, he's going to say, someone who has even one of these is dear to me. And he says to Shabari, you have all 9. Means you don't really, she doesn't need this. She doesn't actually need this. It is we who need it. And what this Navadha Bhakti is supposed to do for us is, it's supposed to show us how, when Bhakti expresses in somebody, what does it look like? Spoiler alert, Bhagavan is not going to say Bhakti looks like coming and sitting in front of a murti and doing puja and arti. That is not what Bhakti looks like. Bhagavan is going to describe Bhakti in a totally different way. Or the other question that might come is, well, if I want to develop Bhakti, where do I start? What do I do? Like that. So following these 9 forms of Bhakti, it tells us how we can develop that Bhakti in our life. So now Bhagavan Ram is going to give this Navadha Bhakti. Really, this Navadha Bhakti is stuti of Shabari Ma. She doesn't know how to praise him, but he knows how to praise her. So he ends up, look at that. The Lord of the universe is now going to praise our Shabari Ma. When does Bhagavan get to do stuti for devotee like this? Right? So, before we start, now what is Bhakti? Bhakti is love for God. Simplest definition. Love for God, love for divinity, right? But it is not just an ordinary love. True Bhakti is unconditional. It is filled with reverence. And most important, it touches Bhagavan's heart. We can call it whatever, but unless Bhagavan feels it is love, it is not love. You might say, I love you, Bhagavan, so you better give me the book I really wanted, right? Does Bhagavan consider it love? That is the question, right? So now we'll see how he classifies love. These 9 forms of bhakti. It will express in different people in different ways. So how can we? Well, when we study this, really we're trying to study, these will become generators of bhakti. If I follow this, it will generate bhakti in my life. So let us chant now. I'm going to try, because it's such a special section, I'm going to try a different tune. And if it doesn't work, then we'll switch to our normal tune.
We're going to the next now.
No, so now we paused right there. We'll start again that line. Navadha bhagati kahau tohi pahi. The last line in that section, before the doha, we'll just chant that again and then we'll chant the doha. Okay? But I'll chant the tune and you all please try and chant along. Shri Rama Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. Shri Rama Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. Shri Rama Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. Shri Rama Jaya Ram Jaya it piece by piece, right? Prathama Bhagati, the first form of bhakti, or the first generator of bhakti, is Santana Sangha. It is Satsanga with saints, the company of saints, or Satsang in short, being in the presence of good people who are holding on to the ideas of the saints. Now, how is that the first thing that helps me to generate love for Bhagavan? Actually, we've experienced this very often in our lives. I'm sure everyone would have felt this. I don't know if you had this where you went to spend some time with extended family in some other part of the country or the world, and everybody in that house happens to be a good musician, right? And so they're always playing instruments, or they're always singing, or something going on with music. By the end of 2 weeks, you also feel like an excitement to sing, or to learn music, or to be able to pick up an instrument, or something. That presence around people who love music makes you also love music. Everyone experience this kind of thing or not? Or we had a Gurukul camp for the kids in Trinidad. They had come from Toronto to Trinidad, and a few of them knew how to play instruments. So they were playing instruments, and then they would see Swamiji play harmonium, and the musical environment is infectious. So one of the kids actually started to try to play harmonium, like he was 9 years old at the time. And he went home, and his mom told me that before camp, he was begging her every day for an iPhone. And after this 3-week Gurukul camp, he went home and he started to beg her for a harmonium. The presence in the environment of people who love music makes you also love music. Or if you're in the company of a foodie for a few weeks, well, you become a foodie very soon. Right? So when you spend time with a saint, well, you may not become a saint overnight. You will not become a saint overnight, but you will definitely be infected with their love for Bhagavan. That it is impossible to be in their presence and not be infected by their love for Bhagavan. Gurudev used to say, "Don't come too close or I will shower you with my love." In their presence, you can't but feel that, And you'll see, when people get married, if one is a true satsangi, the other one eventually also becomes a satsangi, no matter who they were, right? So just in the presence of satsang, magic happens. Now, anybody who has had the blessing to be in satsang cannot deny the transformation that happens in your life in satsang. And in the end of Ramayana, means in Uttarkanda, Bhagavan Shiva comes to meet Lord Rama. This is at the end of the war, so that would be end of Lanka Kand, around there. He comes to meet Bhagavan Rama, and he says, "Bara bara vara mangu." I'm asking for this boon over and over and over again. What boon he asks for? To always remain in satsang. Lord Shiva is asking to always remain in satsang. And he lives it, when he comes as Hanumanji, and he goes to meet Vibhishana in that same section. He hadn't stopped to take a break when Menak showed up. He didn't stop when Surasa was trying to delay him. He didn't stop at any point to take a rest, right? But when he sees Vibhishana's home with the Rama Ankit, and he hears Vibhishana getting up and saying, "Rama," well, he says to himself, "Sadhute hoi nakara jahani." There is never anything bad that comes from meeting a saint. Even if you have to go out of your way to meet a saint, nothing bad ever comes from meeting them. The opposite comes. And our problem is that, if our life is very busy and then an important social obligation comes up, we know how to manage our time to squeeze it in if it is important. I'm so busy, I have no time, but I have to do this and I'll find a way to do it. If somebody's health is important, they find a way to squeeze in exercise no matter how busy their life is. In the exact same way, when somebody starts to value satsang, they find time for it. Satsang is never an excuse when somebody values it. Means time is never an excuse to not be in satsang. Because this is the first one, it is important for us to think a little bit about it. You know, the other way satsang is described in this Ramayana, I mean, it's described countlessly in this Ramayana, right? But in one place it is described as a blow. When Hanumanji meets Lankini, Satsanga is described as the blow that blows out our delusion. So in Satsang, our wrong thinking is given a blow and it is replaced with right thinking. For example, we think happiness comes from outside. You find one person in this world who has found happiness on the outside. See, simple test. Everybody is trying to become their boss. Means the person who's ahead of you at your workplace, you're trying to become them by getting your promotion. What else do you want a promotion for? To become the next person, right? Everyone wants to become who their boss is. Your boss is happy? You just look and you see the people we're aspiring to become, they're not happy. Huh? So satsang, like this, satsang makes us rethink our definition of success, happiness, the purpose of our life. It makes us learn that we don't need to live life by trial and error and figure it out as we go along. It teaches us that there's a much more efficient and harmonious option. And it doesn't teach us what to think, but it teaches us how to think. And the biggest thing is, it makes us realize that without love for Bhagavan, that empty feeling that we have is not going to go away. The only way the empty feeling in our heart goes is love for Bhagavan. And unfortunately or fortunately, there is no substitute for in-person satsang. Being in the physical presence of a saint is something that we cannot replace no matter how many books we read and videos we watch. There is just absolutely no comparison. But you could do a whole satsang on satsang. Swamiji's done satsang on satsang many times, but the most important thing we should take from this is a form of bhakti is being in satsang. Whether we're talking about the physical presence of saints or great people, or being in the company of their ideas if we can't be in their physical presence. It is a form of bhakti. It is a form of devotion, and it is a way our devotion is generated also. Then he says, okay, so that is the first one. Dusari, number 2. Rati mama katha prasanga. Reveling in my katha, in my stories. Reveling in the stories of the Lord. In Uttarkand, there's a phrase that comes, Binu satsanga na hari katha. Without satsang, you don't get to hear the katha of Bhagavan. Where else will you hear it except in satsang? In the stock market, or when you're playing competitive tennis. It is only in satsang that we hear the kathas of Bhagavan. So, what is the difference then between this one, number 2, Dusari Rati Mama Katha Prasanga, and the first one, which is Santana Sangha? Because in satsang, what we will hear is glories of Bhagavan. The key difference here is Rati. The key word is Rati. Rati means reveling. Actually enjoying it. Feeling like you can't wait to go. Wishing that it wouldn't finish. Versus going and listening by obligation. Oh, if I don't go, Swamiji will say, how come you didn't come? Or somebody invited me for their satsang. How can I not go? They will think that I'm a snob. All kinds of other reasons people go for. But the reason we're supposed to go is because we love to listen to this. I just love to listen to Ram Katha, so I'm going for that. I'm not going to go and get content for something. I'm going to listen to Ram Katha because I love it. And we may start for whatever reason we come. But eventually, if we do it with the right bhava, it becomes Rati. We start to revel in the stories of Bhagavan. And when we revel in his stories, it changes our life. In Balakand, Shivji tells Parvati that Ram Katha is like the clap that scares away birds of doubts. And that means that when we read Ram Katha, when we listen to Ram Katha, when we revel in Ram Katha, when we think about it, just the listening to the stories scares away birds, means doubts that we had in our mind that we didn't even know. You listen to Ram Katha, and doubts that you didn't even know you had will go away. There's nothing more magical than that. People spend their whole life trying to come to Upanishad class and study line by line and remove doubts from their understanding. Shivji's telling the shortcut. Listen to Ram Katha and your doubts go away the way you clap and it scares away all the birds at once. All your doubts just go away. Doubts you didn't even know you had, they disappear. And our doubts are impurities. That is what they are in the mind. So the impurities are removed in satsang. Now, in our tradition, there are two ways impurities can be removed. Well, there's this way, which is listening to Hari Katha. And the other way is Totra Vetraika Parnaye. Bhagavan has the whip, and Prakriti is going to teach us by the trouble that we get in our life. Then our doubts and our impurities get removed. So we can choose. I mean, everyone is entitled to choose whichever one they want. So we can choose which one we want. But the bhakta is wise, because the same lesson that Prakriti teaches the hard way, they get to just come and listen to satsang and learn. It's like a cheat code that you're allowed to have. You're allowed to cheat in this way. Now, when Bhagavan says reveling, he means something like, someone who revels in Ram Katha doesn't say, oh, I've heard that section already. I don't want to hear it again. You tell me something else. Reveling means I've heard it, but I want to hear it over and over again. And every time I hear it, I think about it from different points of view. Like Bhagavan Ram ate the fruits that Shabari gave. And Tulsidasji says, Prema Sahita Prabhu Kai. He ate it with great love. But nowhere else it was described that he ate it with love. How come it is said with love over here? So many Mahatmas, Rishis, people have fed him coming down in the forest. This is the first time it says, Prema Sahita, he ate it with love. And Baram Bara Bakhani, he praised it over and over again. What does that mean? Why did he praise it over and over? Like that one little doha, someone who revels in Ram Katha will stop and they will think about it and think about it and think about it, like that. So like that, when we study Ram Katha, when we read Ram Katha, we never feel like, I've had enough. Oh, I've heard this before, I don't need to hear it again. Shivji is the composer of this Ramayana that we are studying. Tulsidasji's Ramayana, the composer is Shivji. And Shivji himself, who kept this Ramayana in his mind for thousands of years and then told it to Parvati Ma, what would he not know? But he goes to Atri Rishi and says, you tell me Ram Katha. And he revels in it. Now if Shivji can do that, like who are we? Who are we if that is Bhagavan Shiva's reaction to Ram Katha? Right? So bhakti grows. Actually, this is a secret to growing bhakti. When we read Ramayana, when we read Bhagavatam, you cannot but have your bhakti grow. Those who've been in class for the past few years, you tell me your love for Bhagavan Ram has not grown? I mean, you have love for Bhagavan Ram. Everyone has love for him. Who's a bhakta? But when you study Ramayana, your love just multiplies. Because that's what it does. The stories of Bhagavan make our love grow. Okay, so that is the second form of devotion. That is a way you can identify devotion in yourself, or that is a way to generate devotion in yourself, however you want to see it. All right, now let us chant the Doha. Gurapada Pankaja Seva Tisari Bhagati Amana Shauti Bhagati Mama Guna Gana Karaika Patata Jigana Siya Varera उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय Gurapada Pankaja Seva Tisari Bhagati Amana. Tisari Bhagati, the third form of devotion in this Navadha Bhakti, is Gurapada Pankaja Seva. Seva to the lotus feet of the Guru. How is Seva to the lotus feet of the Guru a form of bhakti for Bhagavan? How does it make our bhakti grow? Well, actually, it is a very simple thing. Tulsidasji, in the beginning, we chant every time we start. Bandhau Gurapada Kanja Kripa Sindhu Nara Rupa Hari. The Guru is described as Nara Rupa Hari, meaning the Guru in our tradition is considered to be a human avatar of Bhagavan. In our tradition, there's no difference between Guru and Bhagavan. He is a living Bhagavan in our life. So we literally get to do seva for Bhagavan directly. Or the other way to see it is, we had seen that last week, without Guru, you will never know also who Bhagavan is. Right? You know, right now, we have this experience. Right now, Siya Rama Maya Sabaja Gajani, this whole entire world is pervaded by Rama. Can you see? When you look around, you see Rama? Tulsidasji sees Rama, but we don't. He is there, but we can't see him. We can't experience him. So he remains hidden under our very nose. Like Gurudev remained hidden under the British when he was decoding Morse code for them. Right there Bhagavan is, but we can't see him. So it is the Guru who shows us who Bhagavan is and how he is everywhere. When we do seva, what we do actually is we tune our mind with our Guru's mind so that his teachings become ours. You know, you have to be able to listen to something on the radio, you have to tune it to the right channel. If it is not tuned to the right channel, if it's a little off also, you will hear more static and less conversation. Right? Well, in the same way, when the Guru is trying to teach us something, remember, he's teaching us something that is beyond words. But he's using words to teach that to us. So the only way someone can use words to teach you something that is beyond words is if the two minds are tuned. So that without him saying anything, or without him saying specifically something, you understand. His indications direct our mind with precision when our mind is tuned to the Guru's mind. And the tuning happens when we do seva. When we do seva for Guru, our mind gets tuned with the Guru's mind. Then the question will be, well, how to do seva? Well, the most gross preliminary stage of seva is physical, right? Physical seva, Guru has come, you wash his clothes, you wash his slippers, etc., whatever. Now you tell me, how many disciples or devotees will one Guru have? Take Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda. He had millions of bhaktas over the world. Thousands even if you say, right? For argument's sake, even if you say thousands. How many feet did he have? How many clothes did he have that needed to be ironed? How many tasks did he have to do for the day? How many times could he eat a day? You know, he used to write hundreds of letters every day. And so he would write the letters and then he would fold them, and then sevaks would come and say, let us help you. So they would stick the stamp and close the envelope and all of that, right? They were there to help him to do seva. He had to stop writing letters and be like, wait, let me teach you how to put a stamp properly. Let me teach you how to close the envelope properly. So they come to do seva, but he has to teach them also how to do that seva. Right? You know, when we think that seva for Guru is just physical, it becomes dangerous for the Guru. Because we will feed him till he gets sick. We will fight for his feet to massage them when he wants to go to sleep. Then the Guru is not always around us. He can't always be around us. So seva for Guru is not only a literal physical thing. It means it's not only a physical thing. A more evolved understanding of seva for Guru is it represents what he stands on. Just like we stand on our feet, what does the Guru stand on? He stands on, or he stands for, or he stands by the principles of Sanatana Dharma. Nothing else. So to do seva for our Guru is to live our life in line with his teachings. Meaning when he says something, we don't just take it theoretically, we don't just become a good parrot for his words, but we become a living example of the transformation that takes place when we do what he says ought to be done. Or like Gurudev's main work was to teach Sanatana Dharma. Seva for Gurudev will be anything that we do to facilitate that teaching. You personally don't need to be the one teaching. I mean, Gurudev used to say, find anybody and tell them what you learned. You put into words your understanding of your knowledge. Right? But if you can't teach somebody, even organizing what is required for the teaching is part of seva. Helping to take care of the ashram, helping to market, everything is part of seva for Guru also. And there's a place for everybody exactly as they are. So that is how we do seva for Guru. Now the key word in this sentence is amana, doing the seva without ego. It comes after Tisari Bhagati. You'll see Gurapada Pankaja Seva, Tisari Bhagati. It's the third form of bhakti. Amana, without mana, without ego. Without ego will be in this context, well, one will be, I shouldn't think I know better than the Guru. Sometimes people sit there and listen just to say, no, let me explain to you what that actually means. Anyways, amana, without ego. The other thing is, it is a reminder to us that we're not supposed to compare our Guru's relationship between his different disciples and devotees. Meaning, oh, look what he did with me. He didn't do that for the other one. That means I am more special, right? He spent more time with me, or he answered more questions of mine, or whatever measure we have in our mind. Huh? The Guru does not treat two devotees or two disciples in the same way because he knows what we need. So his interaction will be different. Therefore, we should never compare ourselves with other devotees or other disciples of our Guru. Amana. Amana means there's no ego in there, oh, me versus another disciple. That doesn't exist when I do my seva. Then, last thing I'll tell. You know, some people ask about the necessity of a guru in a person's life. Well, Tulsidasji says, see, we're doing Ramayana, so Tulsidasji's opinion comes first. He says, if you don't have a guru, well, what is the line? Binu Guru Bhava Nidhi Tarahina Koi. Nobody can cross over this ocean of samsara if they don't have a guru. Jao Biranchi Shankara Samahui. Even if you are equal to Brahmaji or Bhagavan Shiva himself, we need a guru. Then the next question. Someone asked Gurudev, why do I need a guru if your books are there? And Gurudev said, you please go and ask the book. But the other thing is that we also Hariom, can you hear me? It started to rain. There's a correlation between rain and internet. So, no, seriously. I was telling something. Oh, yes, I was saying, someone asked Gurudev why they need a guru. Can't they just use the books? And Gurudev said, well, you ask the book. Who are you going to ask your questions to, right? But it's so ironic that we don't see the words of the Guru in the book as the Guru. it's like your words are not you. I want your words without you. Actually, the only reason someone could ask this question is, I think it must be all connected to ego. There must be a feeling that I can learn it myself. I don't need a guru. Why else will someone not want a guru? You want to go and learn how to fly a plane yourself, or sit in a plane with a pilot who's learned to fly the plane himself? We want teachers for every single other thing in the world, but when it comes to spirituality, we say, no, 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 I don't need a guru. Or I don't need to serve the guru. I'm just going to take his books and learn, and he wouldn't even know I exist. No, seva for the guru is what allows the knowledge to take root in my mind. Okay. Actually, when we read books that Mahatmas have written, any guru has written, we have to ask their permission for the knowledge to become ours when we start to study it. Like if you pick up a book of a Swami that you've never met, in your mind you invoke them and you ask for their blessings for that knowledge to bless you. You don't just take it and benefit from it. In this tradition, the respect that we have for Guru, present or not present, is unmatched. You will not find that anywhere else. Anyways, Chauthi Bhagati, fourth form of devotion. Chauthi Bhagati, Mama Guna Gana, Karai Kapata Taji Gana. Fourth form of devotion, or form generator of devotion, is singing the gunas, the qualities of Bhagavan, without kapatataji, giving up all deceit, giving up all fraudulent behavior, giving up all pretense, giving up all deceit. Without any personal influence. Meaning, I sing his virtues as is, not my opinion, not my interpretation. Having properly understood, the next natural step of learning is now I go and share what I learned from my guru with clear understanding. This is a form of bhakti. It is a glorification of Bhagavan to describe your understanding of him. And it's not only literally singing. I mean, you don't have to sing it. You can also say it without meter. It will still apply. It also means emulating those great qualities of Bhagavan. And then our life becomes a song of his glories. Whenever we encounter situations in life, we should be able to see clearly how our great Bhagavan acted in this situation, what those great qualities were, and then we also strive to emulate them in our life. Even if you take it literally, singing the glories of Bhagavan without deceit or ulterior motive. Well, there's a strong culture of people who sit to sing, and the thought in their mind is people should think I'm a good singer. Subconsciously or consciously, either way, means, and this is the test, after I finish singing in the mandir, a bhajan or a stuti or whatever, my mind is thinking, I wonder what people thought about it. The mind is waiting for someone to come and say, oh, you sang very nicely. The mind is just waiting for a compliment on the singing. In that case, you were singing for Bhagavan or you were singing for the people? Really speaking, it doesn't matter how it sounds to other people. If you sound like a frog in their ears, it doesn't matter. Bhagavan will have pity on them and do something and let their ears, whatever has to happen from their side. But the question for us is, did you have love in your heart when you were singing? Our concern should be first our love for Bhagavan. Singing for Bhagavan is not singing for people. Singing the glories of Bhagavan is not a performance. So when Bhagavan says, Mama Guna Gana, Gan, singing my glories, Karai Kapata Taji, giving up kapat. You really want to develop devotion, you give up deceit when you express your devotion. Expressing devotion is not a show. Like that. These are indications for us to check our bhakti and things for us to follow to develop more bhakti. Okay. Now it's okay, we can do one more. Let's sing the next one. Now I have a dilemma because we won't finish if we start this first one, and I only have 5 more minutes because one more week we have to finish early, and then we'll go back to regular schedule from the following week. So I think maybe we'll just pause here and we'll pick up again next week. We'll see the remaining ones. Actually, you know, each of these forms of devotion could be its own satsang. A whole lecture could be spent, or 2 or 3 could be spent on each one. And the more we think about how to develop this devotion in our life, the more, well, then only the studying of this section will be fulfilled. Otherwise, we'll be able to say, okay, I studied Navadha Bhakti, and Bhagavan said that the 9 forms of devotion are Satsanga with saints, then, oh, you know, maybe I can't even recall them, but I know I studied it. What benefit is it going to bring in our life? So if you all would like, you take a paper after satsang and you make a list. 1, 2, 3, 4 we have seen. What are the 4? Santana Sangha, the company of good people, satsang. Then Rati, reveling in Bhagavan's katha. Then Gurapada Pankaja Seva, Seva for the Guru, Amana, without mana. And Chauti Bhagati, Mama Guna Ganaha, singing the glories of Bhagavan. So you write the list like that. And then you think, how do I do satsang? How can I do more satsang? Do I revel in the stories of Bhagavan? How can I revel more in his stories? Like that. Each one you think about how you can practice it in your life. Because Bhagavan said, Savadhana Sunu. Listen attentively, listen properly, listen clearly. He's telling us. So that is one way we can listen clearly, is to go now and think about it. So I hope you think about it, and then we will see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 next week, and then we will continue. Okay, so we'll do closing prayer, and see you all next week. Beautiful section, isn't it? There's nothing like Navadha Bhakti. I mean, there is. Every time you go to a new section, you're like, this is the best section. And then you go to the next section, and again, you're like, this is the best section. But so for now, this is the best section. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Siyavar Ramachandra ki jai. Shri Satya Sanatan Dharma ki jai. Har Har Namah Parvati Pataye. Har Har Mahadev. Om Tat Sat. Y'all can feel free to send your reflections in the chat. I would love to hear them. Okay, Hari Om.